In this video, we're going to create a new campaign. We're actually going to create a branded search campaign and basically just walk through the process of the basic settings, using the right naming convention for the campaign, that kind of stuff. So the first thing you'll do is you'll hit this plus button here to make a new campaign. and essentially, pretty much everything in e-commerce we're going to be using to get sales. So the objectives here, I think you can pretty much create a search campaign from any of these, but just click on sales. And just to go back up, I mean, you'll see if you do leads, you can make a search campaign. If you do website, you can make a search campaign. And these change so much that I don't know if this changes some of the settings that you have available in the setup process, but either way, you can always change them later. That's kind of what I want to do in this video, is just get through the basics. So you'll click on sales, you'll hit continue, and you'll click on search to create your search campaign. This doesn't matter. This is just going to give you some different options when you're going through the setup process. Now, well, it doesn't matter for e-commerce. I don't do apps. I don't really do all this other stuff, but I always just end up leaving it blank. And now we'll input our campaign name. So we're going to go to the campaign naming convention builder, and we're going to select the search network. We'll just say we're targeting USA for now. This is branded search. We're going to do prospecting. Now, prospecting or retargeting, branded search is fundamentally retargeting, right? Like, these are people that have already seen you before. It's very inner funnel. But how I use this field here for targeting, it's the technical implementation of an audience. So we're not going to add an audience to limit it just to retargeting. We're going to call it prospecting. So it's inner funnel. That's what we'll put here. Bottom funnel traffic. This and your product terms are your bottom funnel traffic. And then like FAQs, blogs, those are top of funnel. So product terms, brand terms, bottom funnel. Bidding strategy. Now for branded search, I pretty much always start these off on manual cost per click. Now, the more unique the name of the brand is, the better this works as the brand scales. It works fine. But if you have like a very generic brand where the name is basically the product or the thing people would search if they think of your products, then in some cases it does make a lot of sense to use conversion bidding. But we're just going to start with manual. And this actually ties pretty nicely into the campaign setup process because you can't even select manual. You have to change it after. And I'm just going to put branded search here. Now, this is just a descriptor. So in some cases, like I've had brands change their brand name sometimes once, two, three times. So you end up just making a new branded search campaign, and then this just becomes the name of the brand to separate them. But again, as a description, it's really just for you, the marketer or the brand owner, to understand pretty much just what this is, what's going on. Now, the reason that this is important is as you grow a book, you can start to work in the MCC account on the all campaigns menu and start to filter on campaign types and get real granular with your filtering. So that's really what this is for. But anyway, we have our naming convention now, so we're going to copy it. Excuse me. And we're going to paste it right into here. So now creating a campaign, this changes a lot. They're constantly changing, and there's always some new settings popping up that will have you do like expanded targeting, this, all these other tricks to basically get you to spend more is really the only thing I've come up with for the reason for it. It just really looks like there's a lot of different things that happen in here to try to make you spend more. I mean, one of them being you can't even target manual bidding anymore. So what you're going to do is you're just going to click any one for now. And I'll just leave it at conversions. And we have to change this after the campaign has been created to go back to manual. So there's going to be another part of the course that goes over bidding strategies and when you might want to use some of these. So just keep an eye out for that. I mean, that'll be later in the course, towards the end. We're going to uncheck display network and we're going to leave search partners on. the reason we turn display off is because we'll just make a separate campaign for display. I'm not covering that in this course. I'll do that later. Targeting United States, because that's what we decided we were going to do when we planned out the campaign. And for location options, make sure you change these both to presence only. And basically what happens here is, for targeting, if you leave presence or interest, what's going to happen is it's going to be people from other places in the world that just have been looking stuff up. So we're targeting United States, right? It's the whole country. There could have been instances where people were talking about traveling to the United States, and then they're coming from you'll get traffic from all kinds of countries that you may not even be able to ship to. So for e-commerce, you have to be really careful. The only time I think it would make sense for these would be like for search interest, would be if you're like a hotel, but we're not, and I don't work with hotels. I don't know how to do that. It's just e-commerce. So make sure you set this to presence. And same thing for exclude. Now this is when you create exclusions by region. If you decide to do that, most of the time you just don't need to do that. But you'd also want this based on presence as well. Audience segments, more of an advanced strategy, not really in the scope of this course. I'd like to cover that at another time. So when we get into like advanced search engine marketing in another course, we could talk about targeting. And then ad rotation, you leave on optimize. We used to not optimize and run split tests and track them in spreadsheets, and it was really manual and it took a lot of time. This got better results without having to do all of that. So leave ad rotation to optimize. Schedule, don't worry about. That could be another advanced thing. And URL options and dynamic search, do not worry about. We will talk about dynamic search. We'll set one up, but not in this video. Now, keywords and ads, this is what your ad group holds. Your ad group holds your keywords and it holds your ads. We're going to skip this. I always skip this during the setup process. I like to create them after the fact. Budget, I'm just going to put $1, so that way it doesn't spend any money. And then you'll go through a little review process. So in the review process, it's going to give you a couple things to basically tell you to fix to try to make you spend more money. And just generally to get the ads to serve, right? Like this is saying you don't have an ad, you don't have keywords. Well, I skipped ad group and ad for a reason. I'm going to do those in the next 2 videos. So we'll go ahead and publish, and you can publish it anyway, even though it says you can't. And I'm going to go ahead and pause this so it doesn't spend. And here we go. So now this is active. And just to go into the settings here now, this is basically where everything we just did exists. So if you need to go back in and change anything, like if you want to update your locations or your networks, you can access everything that you just set up before. We're going to go into bidding strategy, change bidding strategy, and then select a bidding strategy directly. This is where you'll go into manual cost per click, and this is enhanced cost per click. We'll talk about that later, but we're going to turn that off. And now the bidding strategy appropriately matches what we're trying to accomplish here, which is manual cost per click. So that's how you set up a campaign. This is pretty much it. In the next video, we'll do an ad group, and in the next video after that, we'll do an ad.